Good morning. It's 7:30. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett on this Wednesday morning. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. And we are live right now on News 6 Plus and clickorlando.com. And as we get you ready to get out the door, meteorologist Candace Campos is in the Pinpoint Weather Center. And really, this is just a beautiful morning. If you're stepping out, you don't really need to bundle up, Candace. And I would say it's
Right.
the best morning so far this week.
You think, okay, so you like the 60s in the morning. You like near 60. Okay.
Yes.
Let me
So
write that
cozy.
down. Okay,
Cozy,
good.
but not,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it's actually really nice out there. Temperatures right now, upper 50s to low 60s. We do have a little more cloud cover overhead. We're watching the approach of our next cold front. So we have a cold front to our north. Our breeze is coming in from the south. So that's going to really build up that heat in the forecast for today.
Uh-oh.
In the forecast. So because of that, a little bit of cloud cover. But overall, we are looking good. So let's take it to the maps here, show you what's going on right now. Temperatures out the door. We're in the upper 50s to low 60s area wide. Now, temperatures, though, throughout the afternoon are going to be warming up fast. We're going to be into the mid 80s in Orlando and Sanford, up to 84 degrees. Now, you can't technically say it's going to be the warmest day of the year. We did hit 85 in Orlando a couple weeks ago, but certainly not record breaking. The records to be are still pretty high. They're near 90 set back, but 1929, 1997. Daytona Beach, though, you broke a record just last year with a high of 88. So along with the warm conditions, we're also talking about windy, breezy at times. Not windy enough to cause any issues along our beaches or our waterways or any advisories, but certainly a breezy afternoon today between about 10 to 15 out of the south. Could get some gusts upwards about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So you see the winds right now, they're out of the south. It's kind of those red arrows coming in from the south. Once that front that we're watching comes through almost on, it's not going to be even noticeable front. We're not going to see any rain from it, but we will notice pretty quickly tomorrow morning we'll be talking about a north breeze, and that northerly wind component is the reason why temperatures are going to be backing off a bit. We're talking about a 10-degree drop between today and tomorrow, but that 10-degree drop, by the way, just brings us back to normal, back into the mid 70s. And then you can see come Friday, a couple more scattered showers comes, rolling in. Rain chances, though, after Friday are going to start surging up a little bit Saturday, a little bit more on Sunday, all thanks to another front just to our north. But let's talk about first the cool down before the rain. So it's warm today, mid 80s. We'll go mid 70s tomorrow, which again is near normal for this time of the year. And then we are going to be watching the approach of a secondary front. So that's the first one, bringing in that cooler air. But then as we head into your Friday and Saturday, we're going to watch a boundary develop just to our north. It's going to kind of linger across the deep south, and that's going to continue to sag across the southeast, keeping some rain around. It's not going to be a washout of a weekend, but certainly we'll be dodging a few showers here and there. So rain chances do kind of trend upward. Tomorrow and Friday, about a 10%. We'll go up to about a 30% on Saturday, and then up to about a 50% on Sunday. Again, not a washout. It's not a 90% chance of rain, but it's still going to be something we'll be watching as we head into your weekend. So again, recap for today, breezy, warm, high of 84 degrees. That front comes through, we'll drop about 10 degrees. And even with a cold front coming through, and even with rain and more clouds, temperatures, though, are still expected to stay above average Friday and into at least the first half of the next work week. And then tomorrow is our leap day. It's February 29th, which is weird to say, but we'll have one tomorrow. So I would love to hear if anybody has birthdays on February 29th, wedding anniversaries, something fun that's kind of unusual because we rarely get those 29s. February 29th in our calendar.
Yeah, it's a leap year. There's those birthdays, those anniversaries. It's like it's a different math equation for
There
all of
is.
all of
It's
those.
like yeah, it's like calculating dog years, right? So it's just
Yeah.
everything's off just a little bit. I think our producer Haley,
Yes, she is.
who's our I think her anniversary is also their wedding anniversary
It
is
is.
on, right? Yeah.
It is.
When
Yeah.
did they get married? They got married in 2020, February
Yes, that's
2020.
right. Yep, it was. It was. That was a
Yeah.
fun time. So we we have a special
Yeah.
we have a special diet discussion coming up, Candace. So I want you to tell me what you think later because we're going to talk a little bit about soul food. It's Black History Month, but we're also
Okay.
going to look into like the African diet and some of those ingredients and some of
Mm.
those fruits and vegetables that you can incorporate into your meals and make some healthier options. So you know how it goes. It's like you have your traditional foods, but then you also have like some of those
You got your
things are
Mediterranean diet.
right.
You got
Yes.
right.
So there's a whole lot to consider, but you can still indulge in some of those traditional treats and things and swap
Ooh.
things out. But then also
Oh, I'm
consider
interested.
consider some other options too. So we'll get into that with a dietitian in a little bit.
Sounds good. Yeah, give
Yeah.
us some recipes.
Yes, we have one. So stay tuned.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks.
All right. I'll see you in a bit. Thank you, Candace.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay, we have Trooper Steve standing by, and this was a fun morning, Trooper Steve, when we talked about. Well, we'll get into that in a minute. First, I need to check in with you on your traffic because I know there were some flashing lights earlier. So let me just pause that thought bubble. We'll get to the fun in
I
just a
was
minute.
curious on where this conversation was going to go this morning with all the multitude of topics that we had, but
Yep.
let's get straight to the traffic. Right now, 429. Excuse me, I'm having breakfast with Bridget, and my breakfast is M&Ms.
Hmm.
429 right now, severely delayed northbound, but they have opened up a travel lane. So earlier this morning, right before the show ended, we were completely shut down. What you're looking at here is right around the 24-mile marker. This is right around Plant Street, south of Franklin. So again, northbound going away from the Florida Turnpike because of this. Your left lane is blocked. They have opened up the right travel lane out there. They had you bypassing through a construction zone for a little bit, but you can see several units out here. The good thing is that silver truck that was sideways is now on a tow truck, so that gives us a little bit of a timeline. But if you look at the delay, it's both north and southbound because people like to look at crashes here in Florida. So that southbound, the crash isn't there, but it's in the northbound. Just be careful if you don't want to avoid. If you want to avoid the highway this morning, Ocoee-Apopka Road is available to you. But we're also starting to see those delays. As I zoom out a little bit, just look how big that delay is between all the way up Maitland Boulevard and of course State Road 50. So take it nice and easy this morning. Got a crash here at Orange Blossom Trail and Wakulla Way. I-4 actually up to speed this morning. No major horrible conditions out there, just the routine slowdowns. You're looking at DOT, Department of Transportation camera at I-4 and the Kirkman area. Your drive times 27 minutes right now, Osceola Parkway to downtown, and then 23 minutes coming in from Lake Mary Boulevard. Green light showing we're running smooth this morning. No major issues other than the one on 429. The red through Azalea on 408 is routine, and then this just came out in Seminole County a little while ago. It's going to be in Fern Park. So just south of Altamont Springs, just north of Maitland Boulevard, southbound US 17 at Spartan Drive, about a 2-mile delay there. So be careful. Brevard County, you guys are always behaving. Things pretty clear along 95 this morning. And then just those routine delays out by the attractions. With one final crash to give you here, we're busy this morning, Bridget, along US 192 at Westside Boulevard. So just take it nice and easy along 429 this morning, and we should make it out of it nice and smooth.
What's up with on patrol today at 8:30?
On patrol today, because WKMG is, we're starting our WKMG Hits the Road today. So that includes all of our franchises, all of our brandings, and our morning team. So you guys have kind of chosen where I'm going to be over the next couple of weeks because viewers have submitted questions, concerns based off of the zip code. So our first area of kind of target is East Orange County. So I'm going to be along Curry Ford today, Bridget, east and westbound, just checking it out. Had some speeding complaints, so I'm going to sneak in results one somewhere and we'll monitor the speed out there. But it's funny because people see results one and then they think it's a cop car and they slow down. So I have to be kind of inconspicuous sometimes. I'm not writing tickets, but no one wants to get called out by a news personality.
Well, that leads me into this next thing. We talked about it this morning.
Yeah.
You said that you would have more to say if we were, streaming or on digital. So let's get right to it. Your old uniform, your old work clothes, ranking pretty high here on the list of the
Yes,
sexiest
that
state
looks
police
good.
uniforms.
Look at those creases. Look at that collar brass. I'm just saying, Bridget, I'm not surprised it's eighth out of
Number
50,
eight, number
but
eight. Should it be
I'll
higher?
take number eight. This is a good discussion. I like this. I'll take it. I'll take the eighth place only because the tan uniforms tend to throw some people off. I was surprised that Texas DPS got number one,
And what's
but
theirs?
theirs is tan too, but it's like a lighter tan. Ours is slightly darker. It's a military pink, is what it's called, and
Yeah,
it was
I can see that.
was first started in 1939, and the uniform has not changed since.
Yeah, it's a
So
warm
there's been
gray.
no. Yep, we have made no alterations to the conception of our uniform since 1939, 85 years ago. Little history for the Highway Patrol. But I enjoyed the military pink. I thought it looked sharp. It separated us from everybody else. And if ironed correctly, the creases could cut you. You could cut dinner with your creases on those uniforms.
Oh,
So
heavy starch, huh?
obviously a heavy starch. You got to make it look good. You got to get the alterations so it's nice and close. And a little fun tip for you: none of those buttons on the front of that uniform are real.
Oh, yeah. So it's
It's
sewn.
all a zipper. It's all
Oh,
a
okay.
zipper. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. So,
Yeah.
wonder what it is that sets the Texas State Police uniform at number one. Is it the tie? They wear that blue tie with it, or is it
It might
just
be the hat.
the hat? Okay. But you guys wear hats.
Well, they have a Stetson, which is a cowboy hat. We rock the
Okay.
campaign, which is more of like the drill instructor flat Smokey the Bear
Mm-hmm.
hat.
Mm-hmm.
So to each their own. There are people out there who like men and women in uniform. So, hence, I guess why this topic was, I didn't even know this was a thing until you guys started talking about it. And I go, oh, Lord, what's happening right now?
My point is, you said that don't mention it
Oh,
if
I
you
knew
get a
this was
ticket
coming.
or if you're about to get a ticket. It's not gonna change anything. Not
For
gonna
me,
charm
I
your
had,
way out of a ticket with talking about how nice the uniform is.
no, not at
Not
all.
with
Because
you.
for me, not with me. Look, this is Breakfast with Bridget. This is a candid conversation. So I'm gonna shoot you straight here. Um, I never wanted to ever have on my conscience or someone say, "Hey, I got out of a ticket because I flirted." And to me, that would have been completely inappropriate. So I was always very professional, friendly,
But
maybe
what
not
if you were
always
gonna give
the
a warning
friendliest.
anyway?
If you were gonna, okay, hear me
Because
out, Bridget. You may not
do you
like
kind of
this.
know when you get out of the car you're definitely giving a ticket? You already know.
So yes, I always said in some cases you can never talk me up, you can always talk me down. So I would say, okay, no matter if I got out of the car, going to give you a warning, and no matter how rude you were still going to get that warning because then maybe I could humble you afterwards and be like, hey, look, you were rude, but I just want you to slow down and maybe you check your
Mm-hmm.
attitude. But with people who flirted, if you flirted with me on the
Wow.
side of the road to the point where I could feel you were flirting, you got a ticket. You got a
Wow.
ticket.
But the rude person got the warning.
Yes, because
Mm.
I don't want anyone to ever think like some kind of relationship or, oh, I flirted my way out. No, if you're flirting, that means you're flirting your way out of other things in life, and it's not going to be with this trooper. So you got
Okay.
yourself a ticket.
All right. So there you have it. There you have it. So, well,
Yes.
it's interesting because now we have several troopers right there with the number one uniform in Texas right now. So
Yeah, you better watch out. I got Candace doing
some
weather behind me on TV.
sharp dressed officers. So anyway,
Yeah,
all right.
well, you
Thanks,
enjoy
Trooper
that
Steve.
calendar.
Well,
Bye.
mm,
You don't do the cop thing. Okay, got it.
not really. I mean, I think that being sharply dressed is important. I'm glad that the effort is recognized. So there you go.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks, Trooper Steve. All right, we want to get to a little bit of news that happened overnight. If you hadn't heard, we had an incident at the Orlando International Airport day before. Now is Orlando Sanford Airport with some major news. A plane hit another plane. There was fire involved and a big investigation that lasted for several hours. Thankfully, no one seriously hurt in this. And News 6's Mark Lehman has a recap of what happened.
A viewer capturing this cell phone video of a plane on fire at the Orlando Sanford International Airport. Minutes earlier, air traffic control heard from a pilot saying there was trouble.
We might be having some control issues here. Our ailerons and the elevator seems to be very stiff.
Sky 6 was overhead as emergency crews responded to the airport. It was around 6:30 last night when a single-engine plane crashed into another aircraft on the ground. We've learned both planes were from a local training facility.
The pilots of the single-engine aircraft landed short, is what I've been told. And they came in contact with another unoccupied, parked single-engine aircraft on our runway.
Airport spokeswoman Lauren Rowe says 3 people were inside the Cirrus SR-520 that made the crash landing.
The good news is nobody was seriously hurt. Of the 3 people involved, only one of them was transported to the hospital, and we believe that it was for precautionary reasons.
And despite the large scene, the airport also says the crash didn't cause any flight delays or cancellations.
And so we'll keep you posted on the investigation into everything there, but thankfully no one hurt. And we want to get to our live interview now. You know, we teased that a few moments ago that we would be talking about diets, and we have a registered dietitian this morning from Health First, a clinical dietitian. Miss Paige Blades is with us. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you. I'm excited to be celebrating Black History Month through the lens of nutrition and wellness.
Yes, I love it. And we've looked at the lens of Black History Month and what it means. And it's not just looking back at people in history, it's also looking at the culture, celebrating the culture, and also taking a look at things that we can do to improve the culture and improve our health. And we know that there are many challenges when it comes to the health and wellness of Black people in America. And what is it that attributes to that to you, Ms. Blades?
So when looking at the nutrition aspect, food is a fundamental part of our heritage. And with that, soul food, for example, plays an important role. And soul food is the symbol of the resilience of our ancestors, but it's also an example of the socioeconomic disadvantages they face. For example, it derived from using less than wanted ingredients and undesirable parts of meat, such as your oxtail, your ham hocks, the pork belly, salted fish, tougher cuts of meats, and scraps of vegetables. And typically, these foods were higher in salt and fat. But our ancestors were able to use these ingredients and make flavorful dishes that were packed with spices and slow cook and different culinary or cooking techniques and skills that they had to make delicious meals. But despite this, soul food is not only about a food itself, it's also about a communal event where we have family coming together. We're eating and cooking and eating the meal together. It's also tied to emotions, as the flavors and aromas give us memory of family and community.
Yeah, when we think about, Sundays at grandmother's house after church, or we think about Thanksgiving and those gatherings, there are those main dishes that, have to be there. Now, give or take a few that, some people may or may not even touch. Like you think about, for example, you talked about lesser desirable foods. When we talk about, like, I'm from South Carolina, chitlins, right? We know what that is. And just the word is just hard for me to even say, but it's kind of gross, but it's still a very popular dish. And then you look at things like macaroni and cheese casserole loaded with, cheese and butter and, all that stuff that it's like it has to be there. But what do you say to people who say, don't take away my soul food, Paige? Like, this is a part of me. What can you say to that can also be, a healthier alternative, but still celebrating your traditions and your culture and the things that make you feel, comfort food?
Yeah, so some tips to try to make these food more healthy, such as your macaroni and cheese. It is high in calories and fat, But the main tip I want to put out there is try to make your dish surround a non-starchy vegetable. Before you go out and say what you're going to cook, think about the vegetable first. And then when you're doing your sides, if you want to try to cut the calories and fat in mac and cheese, you can substitute for low-fat cheese and low-fat milk. There's not really any taste difference with that cheese. You can also cut that butter and the flour in half, or maybe even use some cornstarch instead.
Mm-hmm.
And using nutritional yeast can give a boost of that cheesy flavor.
Mm.
Also, it has added vitamins and minerals in it, so you can have a tasty dish. And even swapping out the macaroni for a whole wheat pasta
Oh,
instead
okay.
can give it some more nutritional benefits. So it won't be just calories; it'll have more vitamins and minerals attached to it for
I'm gonna try to
benefits.
get that recipe from you because that's one of the things that I have to have that on the big holidays. Now, and I make it. I try to make it as well as my mom does, but hers is still better. But when we think about, like you said, a vegetable, collard greens, can we still do collard greens? Like I use broth or like a smoked turkey instead of some of the fattier options. But what do you recommend with things like that?
So collard greens is very healthy. So we want to keep that in as our dish for those major holidays and even in our regular day-to-day diet. If you're doing a traditional ham hock, I would suggest instead of adding that and adding a broth as well, or a low sodium broth, you can use the smoke ham hock bone and boil it in some water. Have it slow cook overnight with onion and celery and bay leaves and carrots, and you can add that to your collard greens. But even instead of cooking it for long periods of time, you can add some oil and then your spices or pepper flakes and let that toast,
Mm-hmm.
and then add your collard greens and let it saute. And then you can have your bone broth that you made for that
Mm-hmm.
smoky flavor and add it to it as needed.
And when we talk about diets, we always hear, a Mediterranean diet is really like the top of, all across the world, all the different cultures. That Mediterranean diet always comes out as one of those leading ones. And you said it's because people are healthier in that region and have less issues health wise and live longer. But what are the secrets to that diet, and how can we incorporate that in any culture?
So, things that I've seen from the Mediterranean diet, or even countries that have people or population that live to be centurions over 100 and they're still independent, their diet tend to be high in healthy fats, such as your nuts, avocado oil or olive oil, canola oil, those healthier oils. It tends to be less in red meats. So, they typically consume probably red meats about 2 times a month. Higher in fish, another source of healthy fats. A lot of vegetable fruits. Also, some things that I've noticed, they're very strong in their community and family. They're more wellness minded. So they put their health ahead, and they're also very active. And when I say active, it's not because they have a gym membership, it's
Mm-hmm.
more because they have less use of these mechanical technologies. So they're using their hands and feet more often. It's a lot of walking. So some tips be like taking the stairs instead of using the elevator, parking your car further away so you can get some extra steps in. So all these things plays a role in our wellness, and our immunity and health.
And Paige, we posted a recipe you shared with us for black beans and quinoa curry chicken bowl. You can find it on clickorlando.com under Breakfast with Bridget. And these are examples of ingredients that are traditional in African culture, and that expands it past soul food. Talk to us about the African diet and some of those great options that we can incorporate here that we might not be as familiar with or just haven't really recognized to go pick up.
Yeah, so we want to try to incorporate more of the healthy foods in our African heritage. So whether that's those greens, those legumes, those black eyed peas, red beans and rice. So this recipe is trying to recreate some of that, swapping out the white rice for your whole grains. So you can do brown rice, or you can swap it out for a healthier grain such as the quinoa. Also, you want to add those fruits and vegetables like your plantains, your avocados, fruits like soursop, your berries. They're
Mm-hmm.
really high in antioxidants, so it's help with immune health. You want to add like your onions and garlic. It's very nutritious as well. Your colorful fruits, so your bell peppers gives it high vitamin C, which is also an antioxidant. And then you want to choose lean meat. So I like to say animals are like humans. We tend to store our fat centrally. So instead of choosing central cuts, choose more loins, sirloins, legs. Poultry tends to be leaner, and as well as your fish.
Awesome. And where can we find some more resources? Where would you recommend looking for like good recipes or tips on, a good diet plan?
So there is a website called Old Ways Tradition. It has a lot of tips to implement more of this African heritage diet. Um, There's also the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, have the Nobian is the Black Dietetics organization. They have a lot of tips, and they try to work to get more health wellness ideas for African Americans so we can overcome these health disparities and decrease the rates of diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease that is very prevalent around the African American community. And it's also prevalent that African American die more from these illnesses. So a lot of these websites out here, like I mentioned, really helps to decrease and bring awareness so we can preserve our heritage and have longer, more productive lives.
All right, awesome information. Thank you so much, Paige, clinical dietitian with Health First. Hope to chat with you again soon. That was fun. Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a great
Bye.
day.
Thank you too.
All right, that'll do it for us this morning. We'll be back tomorrow at 7:30 with more Breakfast with Bridgett. So take care. Have a great day. I'll see you at noon with more news and weather. Up next, Weather-Wise with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. Make it a great day.